And then we'll go ahead and get started now. So, good evening, everyone. Thanks for attending our College and Career Ready Night. My name is Sean Murrin. I'm an automotive teacher at Buffalo Grove High School, and you are currently in the Automotive Pathway session. So, thank you for attending. We have a little program for you, including some panelists that we're going to let them introduce themselves here in just a minute. But they're going to have some questions that we're going to ask them and they can answer. Feel free at any point during the night to go ahead and record any questions you have in the chat, and then later in the evening we'll get to those questions, so that way you can get your questions answered tonight. And then we do have a couple slides that will have some information as well. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to introduce Jim Van Bladel first. Jim, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are?
Yeah, my name is Jim Van Bladel. I'm the autos teacher at Hersey High School in Arlington Heights. I've been there for 18 years, and I teach all levels of automotive from our intro class systems to engine performance. And I have a number of students that have done the internship programs over the years, so I can answer any questions you may have about those as well.
Thank you, Jim. Next, Mike Finstein from Bruce Automotive is here joining us, giving a little of his time. Mike, can you tell us about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Mike Finkston. I'm the owner of Bruce Automotive. I've been in the field since I went to Denver Automotive and Diesel in 1984 when I graduated from there. And I've been in the northwest suburbs ever since.
Very good. Thank you. We also have Maggie Murray, who is a John Hersey alum. She is joining us tonight as a former student to help us help some of the students attending tonight and their parents on what the program would look like. So, Maggie, could you give us a little background?
Hi, everyone. I did 4 years of automotives while at Hersey High School. So everything from the entry level to the engine performance. And it was by far the most helpful class for my real life after graduating compared to any other class that I have ever taken. It teaches you skills beyond just working on the car, like how to do an oil change. It's dedication because these shop cars we are dedicated to, like hard work. It teaches you to persevere. And I would say, like, before autos and everything, like, I wasn't planning on graduating. Like, I was thinking maybe, join the military, do something. I was not going to go to college, but it opened your doors to so much more than just being a mechanic. I took advantage of our internship program, but the automotive specific one, I believe it's called Post. And there I was connected to Fast Cooling, a motorsport accessory company making cool shirts for race car drivers that introduced me into the racing world. And then when you have that background of automotive knowledge, it allows you to be in these spaces with the CEO of WeatherTech, be at events like PRI, trade shows, and I got into the marketing side of that. And now I'm going to school for marketing at UIC with this background of automotives that has been so incredibly helpful to me. And I'm at college because of the confidence I gained while at Hersey Automotives, and especially with Jim Van Bladel as my teacher.
Thank you, Maggie. I'm sure we'll have more questions for you in a little bit. And then last on our panel tonight, but definitely not least, is Colin McAmeal, also a John Hersey High School alum who is also going to share his background a little bit. Colin?
Yeah, good evening. First of all, big thank you to Mr. Murin and Mr. Van Bladel for inviting me on tonight. I really appreciate it. So I graduated from Hersey High School back in 2019. I'm a former student of Mr. Van Bladel's. I actually started fairly late in my high school as far as taking automotive classes. I didn't start until my junior year. And leading up to that, I was planning on originally getting a degree in likely mechanical engineering. And then as I took Mr. Van Bladel's classes, as I started to learn more about cars, more about automotive, more about the industry, I really decided that I kind of wanted to pursue a career in that industry. And so Mr. Van Bladel actually recommended I check out Southern Illinois University down in Carbondale, Illinois. And he recommended I check out the automotive technology program down there. So I took a visit down there with my parents, I believe at the beginning of my senior year. And I really fell in love with the facilities, with the instructors, with the students there. I really fell in love with everything that they had there, and I decided that I wanted to really make a career out of automotive and out of technically minded things, I guess. And so I chose to go down there. I graduated there this past, or not past now. I graduated in the spring of 2023, and although I love automotive, I love cars. I actually decided to take the knowledge that I learned both at Hersey High School as well as SIU Carbondale, taking the technical knowledge as well as kind of the business knowledge I learned and transfer it into the heavy equipment business. So I actually right now work as a fleet manager for a construction company down here. I currently live in Texas, actually.
Excellent. Thank you, Colin. I think right off the bat, for the people attending tonight, you heard two testimonies from students that absolutely love the programs. And I think you can see that it just doesn't have to be automotive specific. There's so many different realms that we can take this. And we're going to follow up with them in a little bit. But let's go into and talk to Mike, who is from Bruce Automotive again, and let's get a business partner sense of how these programs can help students in this automotive career pathway. So, Mike, let me ask you this question: what would a typical day look like in your world?
Uh, Basically, get here when we open up and then service the cars. I don't know, check everything out, go through our flow charts and everything else for our service, recommended service.
Let me ask tech-wise, have you seen a difference as far as obviously cars are so much more electrical and mechanical than ever? Have you seen a shift in technicians and what you need from your technicians?
Yes. I had one guy that was ready to retire, and I hired in two guys from Oakton Community College, and they really got to know the electrical systems and electronics. I mean, everything's going that way.
So, what training then would you say? So, more electronics and you know, uh, what are you saying as far as community college, high school, or on-the-job training? What are your thoughts on each of those?
I think they're all good. I mean, Oakton Community College is trying to put together right now a EV class that I'm
Yes.
actually thinking about going and taking. I'll probably never work on an EV, but I just want to know the knowledge about that stuff.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
experience, you can't go wrong with that. I mean, I started when I was 14 at a full serve gas
Yeah.
station, pumping gas and painting curbs, and here I am.
The days when the gas stations also service cars and not just sold the community market that it is now.
Exactly.
Absolutely, I understand. What certificates are you looking for? Whether they start with you immediately or long term on the job? What certificates and or degrees would you look for from a possible employee?
I like to get them to have the ASE certifications. I mean, the more the better, but at least the basic steering, suspension, brakes, air conditioning, heating, and then we go from there.
So one of the advantages that District 214 has is in our automotive program, students do have an opportunity to take the student ASE test. Maggie and Colin, did either of you have an opportunity or take those tests while in high school?
Yeah, actually, I believe I got 5 or 6 of them back when I was in high school, and a lot of it was pushed by Mr. Van Bladel, and that really,
Suggested.
excuse me?
Suggested when I say pushed.
Suggested, yeah. I don't know about encouraged, but suggested. And I would say kind of having the certifications and the tests really pushed me to strive to dig deeper into automotive and really kind of learn more. And it helped push me because as much as Mr. Van Blade likes to push his students, having kind of an outside certification really helps out as well.
Maggie, any from you?
Yes, I got my G1 Light Maintenance and Repair ASC certification my junior year. If I remember correctly, senior year it was our final, right,
Yep,
Van?
yep,
So
yep.
everyone has an equal opportunity to take these tests. Like you don't have to be the best in your class. Like if you're like unsure of if you want to like go into that career, you can already have it as just a test that you've taken in high school, and that opens so many doors for you and just also gives you the confidence of like, oh yeah, like I actually know what I'm talking about. Like it's on paper now. Like I'm not just making this up.
I agree. I think it's a boost of confidence for the student, and it's not, you need to follow up as once you graduate, you're a full tech, you'll take the full-on ASE certification. But as a student, I think it gives that student the confidence to then go, I get this, I enjoy this, and it's something that I can do with in the future. So I just wanted to put that out that we do offer ASE testing while in school. Jim?
Yeah, and Sean and I also do a series of other certifications from different organizations that are out there. We work really hard to curate which ones we offer. We don't just want to throw pieces of paper at kids to put lines on resumes or whatever. We do our research to make sure that they are from organizations that industries recognize. Ones like ASE, ALI lift safety, so the kids are lift operators, certified lift operators when they leave. They are electrically certified to read meters by Snap-on when they leave. So there's a handful of certifications that students can earn if they want to later on in their automotive careers or automotive education careers that can kind of segue into that straight to career, like working at Mike's shop, or it can be used for scholarships and things like that if you're going the route more like Colin took, where he's going to 2 or 4 year degree education programs after high school.
Thank you, Jim. Mike, a couple more questions if you don't mind. How
Yeah.
can a high school student begin to prepare for a career in automotive? What would you suggest? We see it from the school side, but obviously being a business owner, what would you see and suggest?
Well, I think like the intern program would be a good thing for them to get into. I mean, it's easy for you. It's easy to say, just go grab a junker car and start ripping on it, but that would be a thing too they could possibly do.
Very good. And what Mike was referring to is District 214, the college and career readiness has allowed that students can take internships and apprenticeships while in high school. And if they're even remotely interested, this is the time now, especially for our juniors. We're starting to really recruit the juniors for next year. But regardless of what year, reach out to either your teacher, your automotive teacher at your respective school, or the college and career counselor. It's never too early to talk internships. There are requirements about when you can take an internship and an apprenticeship, but the conversation, you can always have that early and then get you set up. I truly believe that the internship and apprenticeship programs are uh, stellar. They're above what most other high schools are doing across the nation, and it really helps the kids find a focus and decide while they're in high school, is this career for me? Do I like it? How do I want to change it? Or how can I meet people now while in high school? So I do encourage all students to get involved in that. One last question for you, Mike. What is your best advice to high school students to get interested in automotive? One of the problems that I've seen in the last many years is I've been doing this automotive teaching for a long time. And for a while, we could get 15 and 16-year-olds into garages and dealerships. And then a while back, they all came back with, well, because of insurance companies and injuries and school students, it was harder to get younger students into these programs. But what would you suggest for a student, especially a young 14, 15-year-old that's really interested in automotive? What would you suggest that they can, how would you motivate them or talk to them about being interested in the career?
I guess I would tell them to see, go talk to one of the small, like me. I've only got a 4, 5 bay shop, go talk to someone that was willing to take that on because I don't have the big insurance liabilities like the big dealers do. And
Yes.
if you know anyone at the dealer, it takes a while to get off a new car prep to lube tech and work your way up.
Right, right. And that's definitely what we found with some of our students, especially our eager ones that just want to get started early, but sometimes they're turned away. So thank you for that. We're going to turn now, and you see the background screen. It has some of the different classes that you can take while your son or daughter is in high school. I'm going to leave that background screen up, but we're going to turn the focus to Mr. Van Bladel, the automotive Hersey teacher. Jim, I got a few questions for you. Describe some of the courses that you teach as part of the automotive pathway, and what are, just briefly, what are some of the skills and content that the kids are exposed to?
Yeah, so all the courses are the same across all the schools in the district. They start out with automotive systems, and I try and think of that class as everything that I wish somebody had taught me when I was taking driver's ed. I got my license. I didn't know how to change a spare tire. I didn't know how to check oil, check tire pressures. Once we've gone through the basics of the things that kids need to know when they get their first car, we'll then start talking about preventative maintenance, how to make sure that car stays on the road, doing tire rotations, accessory belts, and kind of as things progress, we just build on the skills that they're learning throughout the year. And we go from the front of the car all the way to the back. So it's systems, all the different systems that make a car run. Level 2 is diagnostics. So what do you do when those systems start to fail? What is that noise? How do we figure out where it's coming from? And then how do we fix it? So level 2 is diagnostics, and then vocational auto and engine performance, at least at Hersey, those are typically stacked, and those are the year 3-4 students. That's really where we're drilling down on industry certifications. That's where the students are taking their ASE exams, their, like I said, their snap-on meter certs, and things that will set them up better for their career. And I try and tailor make it, at least at Hersey, to benefit the students no matter where they're going. Right? If there's a student like Maggie who is more focused on the business side of automotive or the marketing side of automotive, we worked on getting her an internship in that field. Somebody like Colin was more interested in building race cars and building vehicles and project cars. And he worked on building a race car for 2 years. We kind of try and tailor make those last couple of years to benefit the students in the best way for whatever path they're going to be going down, but focus more on the career side of it. The first couple of years, first year is just in the shop to have fun, see if it's what you like. Level 2, we start learning some more of the heavier stuff, and then year 3 and 4, as the kids are a little more serious, and we get a little bit dirtier and start pulling engines and transmissions and stuff.
Thank you for that. And, so each of our schools are set up slightly different, but we're all the same when it comes to automotive. We have the same opportunities, even though we put our own little touches on it. So always reach out to your automotive teacher at your prospective school and high school, and that way, develop a relationship with them and understand how they can help you, because between our knowledge from the automotive side and then some of the business partners we've met, and some of the trade school and other college people that we've met, as well as the College and Career Center, there are so many different opportunities for your sons and daughters that we can assist with, and we would love to do that. Jim, I got another question for you, though. What types of external experiences, we've kind of already talked about it, but what kind of external experiences are available? And give me an idea of some of the field trips. I know you recently took your Hersey students to one. Give us a little background on some of the field trips opportunities for students, maybe even include Transportation Day, if you would.
Yeah, for sure. So every year, for the last couple of years, Wheeling has done his Transportation Career Fair Day, where all of the students from all the automotive programs from across the district all meet at Wheeling High School. And there were, I think, 20 or 30 vendors there, all local employers that could talk to kids, tell about what they're looking for. The kids could ask about, starting salaries, how old do I need to be? Where does this job take me? Where do all these careers go? And then they could, meet 20 different local employers, so that the idea of, well, I don't know where to apply for a job, there's 20 of them right there. Try and give the kids as many real world experiences as we can. As far as field trips go, I try and bring all of my kids to all of those different avenues for potential trainings after school, or potential straight to work opportunities after school. We've done field trips to local dealerships. We've done field trips to the for-profit automotive training programs like UTI. I also just got back from a field trip at Triton College, where the kids spent 45 minutes in the factory GM training classroom learning what the advanced kids from the GM training program were learning that day. Then they moved over and learned from the factory Honda program kids and learned what they were learning from that day. And then at the end of those two 45-minute training sessions, we put our project car on their dyno, and the kids got to see our Corvette make all of 230 horsepower, which was incredibly fun. So trying to get kids out there and show them kind of what these careers mean. I know thinking about a career when you're 14 years old seems like it's forever away. But when you start getting to that 15, 16, 17 years old, junior, senior, all of us really try and show your students as many different opportunities that are out there, because there's no one right path for every single kid. So we try and show them as many different paths as we can and let them know which doors will open when, depending which path they go down.
Excellent. And I'd like to follow up with what you said. There's so many different doors for students. And, again, the college and career ready, I think, is really tailored to each individual student. The student simply needs to go, hey, how can an internship or apprenticeship help me? How can my teacher help me in the future? And the doors are wide open. So it's really been a cosmic shift from about 5+ years ago to today. So I encourage all students to find something you enjoy and go after it. Jim, I got one more question for you. Actually, I got two more questions. I apologize. Jim,
Yeah,
what type of credentials? We talked about some of the credentials and
yeah.
certifications. What credentials are available to the students? Can we recap that again for everybody here tonight?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of the ones that we do, they are the same or the education version of what they will use in the industry. For lift safety, we use the Automotive Lift Institute's safety exam, and that's the same sticker that I'm sure Mike has on his lifts in his shop. We do the entry-level ASE exams for our advanced kids, those kids that are earning dual credit at Triton College. We have a dual credit program. I don't know if we talked about that or not yet.
We'll get
but
into it on the next question.
all right, sorry. Yep. So those kids will take the entry-level ASEs. Snap-on certifications. We're working on doing the an information systems specialist exam, kicking that idea around still to see if that's going to be something that's worth it for our kids, where they would be certified to look up this service information using factory data. And it's the same information system that they use at AutoZone. So a kid could walk into an AutoZone to try and get hired and say, yeah, I know how to use your information system already because I learned it in high school. Trying to pick real world things, and we've probably got 15, 20 if the kids really want to fire through them all and have a pretty massive list of credentials for college applications, job applications, scholarship applications, wherever they want to go. They can have the pieces of paper to back up the knowledge and skills that they have learned in the programs in the high school.
Excellent. Thank you. And one more question. Before we get to Maggie and Colin and listen to a little bit more of their experiences and some of the credentials they got, Jim, what dual credit options does District 214 offer in their automotive pathway?
There we go. So the students will earn dual credit for a class called AUT 112, which means nothing, but it is their intro autos class. So if you or your student has spent 4 years in an automotive program, it doesn't really make sense for you to spend the time and the money learning how to rotate tires, torque a wheel, do an oil change. So you can earn transcripted credit that will transfer to any program you go to as college credit. And I don't know if I guess we can ask Colin if that counts for something at SIU or not. Or if you were to go to some place like Maggie's going, UIC, it would transfer with as an elective credit. So it's still transcripted proper college credit, whether or not you're going into the automotive industry. But if you go to Triton, you skip that first class and you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to go to it. You just jump right in with electrical is actually the first class you take when you get there.
Yeah. So let me just back up a little bit and follow up with everybody. So we are dual partner credited with Triton College. Harper College does not offer an automotive program. So therefore, our students have a chargeback agreement. So they would pay the same price to go to Triton College to take their automotive classes that they would in district at Harper, because they don't offer an automotive. So our dual credit partnership is with Triton College, and that's usually for the 2-year associate's degree and certifications. We usually send our kids to Triton, but Oakton is a possibility. Oakton just hosted an automotive conference that the automotive teachers go to, and then Lake College of Lake County would be another option that students have if they chose not to go to Triton. But our dual credit is with Triton College. Thank you,
College
Jim.
of DuPage as well.
College of DuPage. Yeah,
Yeah,
again,
they're
I'm a little
fantastic.
more in the north. I don't go that
Yeah,
far
yeah, yeah,
south. So thank you for
yeah,
that. I appreciate
yeah.
it. So let's turn our attention and hear a little bit from Maggie and Colin. Maggie, we'll start with you. What are some of the career pathway? And I'm gonna change the slide on the screen here, which will talk a little bit about the. You'll see some of the how to apply for the internships and apprenticeships. But Maggie, what are some of the career pathway classes that you took, automotive classes you took while a student?
So while at Hersey High School, I did all 4 years of automotives, starting with systems as a freshman, and my senior year I was in the engine performance class. And I earned the dual credit that's junior year, I think though. Or both.
Yeah, it was probably junior year, yes.
Yeah.
And then did you do a post as your 4th year?
Post I started my junior year, actually, and I
Okay.
graduated my senior year early to work full time
Oh,
with
wow.
my company. But so junior year I started post, worked there every other day during the school year, and they did hire me over the summer. And so I worked full time over the summer, every other day, first semester of senior year, and then I graduated early to work full time.
Excellent. And as a reminder to everybody tonight, Post is our own little automotive internship run in each of the schools where we find business partners to take on the students. So it is an internship, but we just call it Power On-Site Training, specifically for automotive. Colin, what about some of your classes that you took while in high school?
Yeah, so like I mentioned previously, I kind of got a bit of a late start. I didn't start taking automotive classes until my junior year. I was also involved in the band program at Hersey, so my electives were kind of taken up by band and foreign language. But if I remember correctly, at the time, the first class in the automotive program was actually a 1 semester, I believe it was called personal automotive. And somehow I convinced Van to let me skip that and start straight into the systems class. So I think I was kind of the guinea pig for how Mr. Van Bladel structures the program now. But I ended up going for my junior year just taking the 1 systems class, which, as Maggie said, breaks down all the systems, talks about the brake system, steering and suspension, engine, electrical, which is incredibly important. And by the time I got to my senior year, I was actually spending, if I remember correctly, it was either 3 or 4 periods a day in the automotive classroom, because I was taking the next step up class, which I can't remember what it was called at the time. But in addition to that, I
Diagnostics.
was, what's that?
Diagnostics. Sorry.
That's right.
Yeah,
It's been a while. I'm sorry. I'm dating myself.
you're good.
Yeah. So I was taking the diagnostics course, but at the same time, I was working as a teacher's aide for Mr. Van Bladel, working with the system students. And I'm pretty sure my lunch period and I had an open last period. So I was pretty much always in the automotive shop, helping out Van, helping out some of the students, and really just learning. As Van Bladel mentioned, I took a huge interest in his kind of Del Sol race car project. So that was a big part of my senior year.
Excellent. Let's move on to work experience. So I know you've briefly, both of you have talked about some of your work experience. So remind us of what work experience you had while in high school, but more importantly, what are some of the key things that it taught you? Like, was it confidence? Was it, what are some of the things that you think that it taught? Colin, since you're on mic, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I'm actually gonna be honest. I didn't get any automotive work experience while I was still
Okay.
in high school, and I really do regret it. And the big thing is, I had a few friends that actually got jobs as porters at dealerships in the area, and for whatever reason, I can't remember why, I just never really ended up pursuing that. I ended up taking a job at the McDonald's down in Randhurst, but looking back on it, I would have essentially gotten paid the same amount for working as a porter at an automotive dealership, and someone like that is just a great way to kind of break in and speak with these dealership owners, these salesmen, these mechanics, these service advisors, service managers, parts managers. To me, it seems like a great way to kind of put your foot in the door. But I did end up, while I was in college, I actually worked at AutoZone. And as Mr. Van Bladel said, the All Data system is actually owned and used by AutoZone. So that knowledge very quickly transferred over. And I still actually use All Data to this day in my current career path.
Thank you, Colin. And, just so everybody knows, Maggie and Colin had similar experiences in high school, but as we just heard, Colin doesn't have a work experience while in high school. Maggie does, but it doesn't matter whether you start your experience, whether you're in high school or after, it will work out for you, and we'll help you do that. Maggie, what are your thoughts on the subject?
I definitely agree with everything Colin said, just about like the overall knowledge you get from being in this class, like opens doors for you originally. And like I got my internship, well, not internship, my post internship, like the specifically autos one with fast cooling. And I wouldn't have got that internship without being able to solder and having a knowledge of tools and having, because I started in manufacturing, not marketing. So I needed all of those skills, and even Van Bladel personally walked me around the the manufacturing shop, and we made a mock-up part of what I would be manufacturing at my job. So he like directly helped me gain the skills of this job, and then that opened the door to me getting really close with the owner and taking on far more responsibilities and growing in this career. But I would not have gotten a job probably in anything without the confidence and just how life-changing autos was for me in high school. So,
Yeah. Well, I can hear it in your voice. So we hear that a lot from students. And again, I encourage everyone listening tonight, whether you're an actual student or going to be a student in 214 or a parent, um, the College Career Center and this college career readiness that we have for your son or daughter is top notch, and it's there to help you get your son and daughter or to understand what your future is going to look like. And we have two students here tonight that are sharing their experiences. So again, I encourage you to visit with your auto teacher, and it's never too late. Even if you're not a freshman, maybe you're a junior or senior, it's never too late to get involved. It's never too late to start that pathway. We do have students that it's a year or two after. I've had students call me 2 years later saying that now they got an automotive job because they didn't think it's what they wanted to do. Some of them sometimes end up at a 4-year college, graduate with a degree, and then go into the automotive field. So it's never too late to get started, and we're here to help. So thank you for sharing. A couple more questions for each of you. I know both of you are already in a post-secondary program of some kind, but what are your post-secondary plans and goals? And what would you say? How would you say that District 214 helped in that future? I know you've kind of already answered that, but if you could just do that again. Maggie, let's start with you.
so my post-secondary goals would not exist without D214 and the communication skills it gave me, I've already discussed the confidence, but I really I wouldn't even I was scared to introduce myself to people in my freshman year of high school. Um, it like post-secondary, it helps me with the automotive industry in general. I have gone to the PRI trade show. I've had business meetings accompanied by my boss with these leaders of industry for transmissions, for race cars. I've talked to the head engineer of Corvette. And without the knowledge that automotives gave me, I would not be able to have these conversations with these people. I would not be able to get this career that I want in this industry and make these connections in this industry without the automotive knowledge. And D214 just has an excellent academic program altogether. So communication skills and all of that are also very important.
Thank you. Colin?
Yeah, of course. So when I was think about early in my senior year, I was kind of questioning really what I wanted to do. I was throwing around the idea of, maybe possibly joining the military, going to a trade school. I was really thinking about becoming a welder. And like I said, Mr. Van Bladel recommended I take a look at the Southern Illinois University Automotive Technology program. And it was a program that I really fell in love with pretty much right away. I mean, I remember while I was touring the facility, I said, okay, I'm gonna put in an application pretty much right now. And it led me obviously to the career path that I'm currently on. And I would not be there if it was not for both the advice of Mr. Van Bladel as well as what I learned in the automotive program. Because having those 2 years of automotive education under my belt really put me above and beyond my peers when I got to my post-secondary education, because I already went in there knowing about basic automotive electrical. I already knew how to use a multimeter. I already know how to put a car on a lift type of thing. So it's these little skills that you don't think that they're going to help you out very much, but it sets you apart from your peers. And I think that would exist even if you don't go to like an automotive type school. I think just having the kind of the technical knowledge that the automotive programs instill in you can help you really with any career path. And regardless, it can help you in your personal life because it's expensive to pay someone to change your oil. I won't know. I've never paid anyone.
Yeah. Very good. So, hey, as we start wrapping up here, we'll take some questions very shortly. So if you have a question from this evening for any one of us or a generic question, feel free to put that question into the chat and we can follow up with those in a few minutes. As we start winding down here, I'm going to give you a quote from Albert Einstein, and he said, "Education is not it is not remembering of facts and figures. Education should be learning how to think." And I think that's one thing that this automotive program does. Whether you do want to be a future career technician or something else related in the automotive transportation sector, I think giving kids the confidence that they can do things for themselves, whether they want to save themselves money on an oil change or they want to take it and run with all kinds of everything automotive, whether it's the old mechanical vehicles or the new electric. I think that is what the automotive program can do. And then with that, the College and Career Center, again, is there to help your son or daughter get involved in some way so they have an idea what they do, or more important, what they don't want to do after high school. And that's what it's all about. So again, please reach out to your automotive teacher and your college career counselor for any more follow-up on that. So I don't see any questions just yet, but if any questions come in, I will be happy to get to those. As we start wrapping up, I would like to thank everybody for being here tonight. Mike from Bruce Automotive in Mount Prospect, thank you for your time, and we'll stay on for a few more minutes for some questions, but we do really appreciate your time as a business partner in the area, and just somebody that helps and guides us and that we can rely on in the future. So Mike, thank you very much.
No problem.
And then we also have Jim Van Bladel from Hersey High School. He's been at this a long time and he's doing a great job. So if you're blessed to be over at Hersey, please look up Mr. Van Bladel and ask him the questions that you need to. Some of his students, Maggie and Colin, seem to be doing very well for themselves, and that's a result of this automotive pathway that we have in District 214. Let me check. I am not seeing any questions. Let me take a look. No questions yet. We'll stick around for a few minutes, everyone, in case you do have any questions. Any last minute follow-up from any of my panelists as far as last minute thoughts on what you'd like to say?
I just want to thank you, Sean, for taking over this for me while I was sitting in my car. So sorry about that again.
Yeah, just so you know, Jim Van Bladel, the Hersey teacher, he had a rough evening and had planned on being the moderator tonight and had a last minute cancellation and some things just went awry, and we'll leave it at that. But he's sitting in his car. He was kind enough to pull off the side of the road and sit in his car to be with us tonight. So I do appreciate your time, Jim, without a doubt.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, it's all
But
good.
Sugar Grove is beautiful at 7:40 at night.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm just waiting to get pulled over by security or something while I'm sitting on the side of the road.
Right. While you're sitting there. Very good.
Yeah.
Colin, any
I'm not
last minute
driving.
thoughts or comments you'd like to share with us tonight?
Yeah, of course. First of all, like I said, big thank you to Mr. Muir and Mr. Van Bladel, and thank you to everyone here for spending some time with us and getting to understand this program. I was very delighted to be invited to participate in this, and I really appreciate it. But kind of the big thing that I would leave with is just remembering that education doesn't necessarily end with that high school diploma. That education is something that is going to be with you your entire life, and that whether you choose to do a post-secondary program, whether you choose to go to a university, a college, technical school, or just start working right away, get a job as a mechanic, just keep in mind that your education does not stop with that high school diploma. And I would challenge you to strive to really continue to learn beyond just your high school experience, and keep in mind that you can learn from everybody. I mean, I work with people who are 60 years old, and I work with people who are 18 years old, and I learn something every day from everyone. So I would really encourage to have an open mindset when it comes to that.
Well, thank you for that. And you seem to hold yourself very well. I'm sure you'll go very far. So thank you for those comments and your time tonight. Maggie, any follow-up from you?
Yes, I just want to thank you guys so much for letting me speak on this. I am a recent graduate, so I know that there's not too much to back me up, but this program has truly been so influential, and even if the most you get out of taking an autos class is a group of friends, like it's really worth it because even the social aspects are it's like such a tight-knit community that it's almost hard to put into words. Like we always had a group chat outside of class, and like I consistently would hang out with my peers outside of class. And even if you don't want to be a mechanic, there are so many other pathways that you could take with this automotive knowledge that are discussed in class. And like my boss was a speaker that Jim brought in to speak to our class. And there's just really so many things that you could do with your automotive knowledge in the future.
Thank you. And
Thank
and
you.
again, thank you for being here. And you did very well tonight. And I think you'll be doing very well in the future. So thank you. We do have a question before we get to this question. Some of the high schools in District 214 also offer automotive clubs. Some schools have it, some don't. But anyhow, that's another place where, as Maggie was saying, they had an outside chat where just a whole bunch of kids that really enjoyed automotive and what they were doing. They would just kind of stay in touch and communicate. Some of the programs do have automotive clubs after school, and that's another way to get involved and just kind of just be part of something as well as just further your knowledge. Let's go to a question that came in. And the question tonight was, do you have to do an internship first before you can do an apprenticeship? And the answer to that question is no, not at all. Um, the apprenticeship and internship are two completely different things. So no, they one doesn't have to do one before the other. The apprenticeship, you're looking at junior into senior year. It also can depend on what program you're in. So for our automotive, I have a student that is currently taking the dual credit and is also in an apprenticeship currently at the same time. But he never did an internship. He went right into an apprenticeship. I have other students that did not do an apprenticeship, but they're doing internships. So um, you can do both. You can do one. You can do neither. I think from the panelists tonight, we've had a little bit of everything. One that didn't have either of those, but has succeeded. And then another student who had an internship and is still doing well. So between that, any path you choose is going to be okay. And I would say look to your automotive teacher for guidance there. Any more questions? We're going to wrap up here in the
There,
next minute.
I'll say there's other also like micro internships and things like that. So if you really have no idea what you want to do, the district and the career partnerships program, they can set you up working in a place for 1 hour a day for 1 week just to shadow somebody. And it could be shadowing a tech, shadowing a salesperson, shadowing somebody in the marketing of a dealership, shadowing an independent repair facility, hang out with Mike for an hour and kind of bounce you around and show you as many different things as we can possibly show you to find the right place for you. And then if it's something you want to do, then we can talk about a 1 month or a full semester or a full year internship. So we kind
Great
of tailor
advice.
make everything we can to every kid to get them in the right place.
Great advice. Thank you, everybody. We're going to go ahead and sign off right now. We don't want to take up too much of your time. It's 7:45. We're going to end it. Thank you for joining tonight.